Hello, ladies and gentlemen. MarauderEX here with a rant of some sort. Let's talk about the PlayStation Classic, PlayStation Mini, PlayStation whatever its name is, and why. Okay, so Sony announced that they are doing a PlayStation Mini Classic, much like Nintendo did with the NES Mini Classic thing and the Super Nintendo Mini Classic thing. And I ask myself, why? Why is this a thing? And I ask why this is a thing because there are several things about this that raise questions. Just a few. Alright, first off, looking at the thing, it says that it doesn't, you have to buy the AC adapter separately. It comes with a USB cable, HDMI cable, 2 controllers, which is not bad, but we'll get into that in a second. But the AC adapter is separate, and that's some straight up Nintendo, bullshit right there. People lost it when one of their handhelds, I forget which one, was like, yeah, no, we don't have, we're not packaging a cable with it. You gotta buy a charging cable separate. Mostly because we figure everyone's got one already because it uses the same thing. And people just lost their minds over that and just started screaming bloody murder. I have seen very, very little outrage. You have to buy your own AC adapter? I mean, I'm assuming it's you can possibly maybe use the USB cable to power it. I don't know. But other than that, how does it play out of the box? Obviously, the HDMI cable is not drawing enough power to it. So maybe USB cable? I don't know. There are questions about that. The second point is the controllers are not DualShock controllers. They do not have the analog sticks. And I know the very first controllers that Sony released were the controllers coming with this. So yeah, it's very, very nostalgic, but after a certain point, so many games required the DualShock. Any of the 3D games really needed the DualShock controller. So, that's going to severely limit what games are going to be able to come out on this. I've already seen people getting really upset that Ape Escape is not going to be able to be played on this because it was one of those games that required the DualShock. And everyone's like, oh yes, Final Fantasy VII is going to be on it. Okay. Final Fantasy VII is available in all sorts of places. Which brings me to kind of my next topic. Sony has been really, really good about PS1 backwards compatibility in so many ways that this seems superfluous to me to have a separate box to do this, because PS1 games are available on so many different platforms. You have both versions of the PlayStation. You've got the large square gray box, the smaller, rounded surface PS1, ONE, because there are several different revisions. Then you've got any PS2 can play PS1 game. If you've got the game, just pop it in the disc tray and it goes. Any PS3, you can do the same thing. Just pop the disc into any PS3. There is no backwards compatibility limitations on the PS3 when it comes to PS1 games. There are with PS2 games, but not PS1. So that leaves a huge library of consoles that you can pop the disc in right off the bat and play it. Then there's the PlayStation 1 Classics, which are available digitally on the PS3, the PSP, and the PS Vita. So you could just download the games onto that and play them that way. And that's the digital format. They're not available on the PS4, but I think this would actually have been more useful to have the PS1 Classics be made available on the PS4. That would have made so much more sense than to make a separate console. that has 20 preloaded games, which we don't know the full list of games. But 20 games. Instead of just making those 20 games available on PS4, as well as other PlayStation 1 classics available on the PS4. I don't understand why PS1 classics aren't available on the PS4 to begin with. I mean, I'm assuming there's some sort of emulation issue that they're not happy with that has not done that, because otherwise I see no reason to do that. There's got to be some sort of technical issue in terms of the architecture of the PS4 not playing well with the architecture of the PS1, which seems really weird because the PS1 seems to be just so easy to emulate on so many different things that I'm honestly wondering what the deal with that is. But it seems silly to me. It really does. I kind of understand the NES and the SNES Classic, because those are cartridge-based systems. Those are systems that didn't have any sort of means of decent output to modern HD TVs. You're stuck with RF composite or maybe component, depending on composite or component, depending on what cables you get. If you're lucky, you have a fancy TV with an S-video input that might do well if the system supports it, or you have a separate TV to play those in. But like the Wii and the Wii U, you could get a lot of NES and SNES games digitally, but then you had to play them digitally, and the emulation for those were off. I've watched the My Life in Gaming video where they talk about the best way to get the best version of these games playable via modern means, either console mods, different consoles digitally, just any way that it is commercially available, what the best way to get the best signal from these games are. And the Wii and Wii U emulation are weird at best. So a lot of people are like, no, but there's no way to plug your cartridges into a Wii or Wii U, so if you've got, a copy of Legend of Zelda on the NES, you can't just pop it in and make it work. And even if you could, then there's some sort of emulation issue that it's gonna look a little So, like, I kind of understand Nintendo's point. Like, oh yeah, and even with the SNES Classic, there was Star Fox 2, a game that was never commercially available in North America for no reason other than why not. So that was little reasons, and let's just shove that in there. But the PlayStation, so many of these games are available on a huge variety of platforms. The PS2 is still the most sold console of forever, and so if you've got the game, you can play it on PS1, PS2, PS3. If you want it digitally, PS3, PSP, PS Vita. And I still don't understand why not PS4, but it's weird to me. And then the PS1 Mini Classic just doesn't have analog sticks, which means the games that are going to be on it are going to be limited. There's just so much about this that I don't understand why this is. And I'm just... I don't know. And then so many of these games that are slated to come to the PS1 Mini, specifically Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII has been announced for basically everything. It's coming out on Switch. It's coming out on Xbox One. It's gonna be everywhere. So like some of these games, if you want to play them, chances are you have a system capable of playing these games already. Why? Because I know some of the games like Team Buddies is not going to make it on the PS1 Mini. That game is like ridiculously expensive for I don't know what reason. I've never been able to piece that one together. But it is really rare, really expensive. So like, yeah, a lot of people aren't going to be like, oh yeah, I can play all these PS1 games, but I can't play this one because it's really expensive. But that one's not going to be on the Mini. It's not. It's like, more than likely the 20 games that are going to be on the PS1 Mini are going to be a lot of the popular system sellers. They're going to be the ones that had the greatest hits reprints. They're going to have sold enough because they're banking on the nostalgia of this, meaning those games are going to be available on so many different platforms. This is silly. And I'm hoping that there's something about this that I'm missing that's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But so much of it just doesn't, that I can't see that reasoning or that logic, because all I can see are the ridiculous hurdles. I mean, for me personally, no DualShock, limiting the games, and having to buy the AC adapter separately. Those are two just really big I'll pass. And like I get that I'm a game collector. I've got this huge wall of games behind me. I've got a ton of consoles hooked up that allow me to be like, I can just walk over to my shelf, pick up a PS1 game, pop it in. I have two systems hooked up right now that could play it. I've got a PS2 and a PS3. I have a PS1 somewhere around here. It's just not hooked up. So I have three means of playing PS1 games right here. And then I've got a PSP, and then the PS3. If I don't have the game, I can try to download it if it's on PlayStation Network. Like, I get that I'm an outlier. I have all of this stuff, but there are so many people that still have PS2s, PS3s, PSPs, and there's a die-hard cult following for the PS Vita. And then a lot of people have gone into, that go for the current gen consoles, and there are a ton of people with PS4s, or there's a ton of people with the Switch, there's a ton of people with the Xbox. So if it's a third-party PlayStation game, it could be made available on all of those platforms. If it's a Sony first-party or second-party title, then I don't know why Sony's not just pushing to get those on the PS4 instead. I'm just really confused by this. I don't see a point to this console. And I guess maybe I'm just not the target audience. But just like I said, all of the downsides, all of the questionable parts of this just seem like a hard pass. So maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe there's some information that I just haven't seen, that I haven't been able to process through the torrent of, oh my god, PlayStation Mini, that there's something I don't know that makes this a worthwhile investment for whatever its price point is, because I haven't even seen what the price point is. That's one thing I haven't. I think it's available. Let me see. For $100, $100. That is also a nope for me, because with that you could buy a used PS3. Okay, yeah, another thing. Tell me there's something I'm missing. Tell me there's something I'm missing that makes this make more sense. Please, I would love to see that. Because right now, I just don't understand. I don't get it. I guess this is just a hardcore Sony collector item that they're marketing. But I don't get it. And I'm not a hardcore collector, but I'm above average in collecting, as you can see. And I don't understand. So let me know your thoughts and feelings about this. Is this something you're picking up? Are you going to be spending the $100 or 130 Canadian for a PlayStation Classic, just to have a PlayStation that plays 20 games preloaded, that is 45% smaller than the original large gray box, which sounds like it's about the same size as the PS1. Let me know your thoughts on this, because I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, and I really think I need to. I need someone else's perspective on this. I really do, because everyone I've talked to is just like, what? I don't get it. So let me know your thoughts and feelings on this, and I will see you in future rants, because Lord knows there's gonna be. So till then, later everyone.